Yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Your favorite podcast, it's Critical Blast.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at criticalblast.com, Chief Envelope Licker for Critical Blast Logistics, myopic proofreader for Critical Blast Publishing, and I do help people with data wrangling because sometimes you just have problems with your Kickstarter or your Indiegogo data, and you need somebody with 35 years of database experience to get in there and clean it up. That's who I am. That's what I do tonight. We are going to dig into some stuff. And with us, we've got Pops Van Zant, co-host here with me tonight from the Madness Comic Network, on which we are simulcasting through multiple channels at the same time. That's what simulcasting means. Pops, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm good to go, man. I'm glad I could help out with this. I want to get as many eyes on what's going on with this as possible, as always. That's what I do. I'm partnered up with RJ. We work together. Obviously, he's one of our sponsors, and I'm proud of that alignment. So let's move forward.
We just
Hey, Pop,
solidified it a little bit more today, didn't we? Chris Brawley from Bleeding Fool is at the center of this maelstrom, so to speak. Chris, how you doing tonight, man?
Head fool in the house. Gentlemen, thank you so much for having me on tonight.
And I just loaded that for you, RJ, so you guys have that whenever you need it.
Hey, I'm just impressed with how quickly everything just kind of ramped up on this. I mean, you guys know what's going on, right?
We do. You've been telling me some of the stuff. I assume there's still stuff I probably don't know about. People are starting to hear about it. Other streams started kicking off right before this, and I was like, "You dirty bastards!" Because
but none of them have us.
Exactly.
None of them have the guy, the man.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know the nitty of the gritty, this is the one.
Thing. Do you want to talk to the guy, or do you want to talk about the guy?
Exactly. I mean, players play and playmakers make plays, and the playmakers are in the house here. That's all I can say.
That's what I'm talking about. We have a lot of people here ready to watch. Indie Comics Network is watching. Vicky Versus here watching. Indie Comics Network. I just said that to you guys. Okay. You look like more people when you do it.
Big fans of mine. Big fans.
Yeah.
Actually, yes, big fans of this
Indie Comics Network is.
I know. No, I can't.
It's cool.
It's a big universe.
It's all much better than you might think. So I'm going to start things at the beginning here, and I'm going to deliberately try to get to a certain point. So if you want to say, yeah, but they got to hold up. If I skip something, definitely let me know. But we're going to start off with, I'm going to start with the article.
Do you want to play the trailer first? Because I loaded it.
Let's bring that up later. Let's talk smack first.
We'll bring that in. And by the way, for perspective on the comic book industry and how this all works, as an indie publisher, we also are joined for commentary by Michael Tierney of the LCS Guys show.
Hello,
Michael. You are here just in time, man.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
What's up?
It's interesting. We're in interesting times. So this article is an archive of what ran on the DailyKos. The title has finally been changed because it's Mike Baron is not the creator of the Punisher. Their commenters tried to tell them that multiple times, but it took Jerry Conway being a dick today to finally get it to stick.
Can I say something about that real quick? Mike Baron is not the creator of Punisher. He's never claimed to be the creator of Punisher. None of our campaigns or books or promotions have ever said he was the creator. The only thing we've ever said is that Mike Baron wrote it for 5 years. He wrote it from issue number 1. Hang on.
Yeah, that's like saying, Superman writer Tom Taylor, and they're like, oh, he didn't create Superman.
That's right. But Mike Baron wrote issue #1 of The Punisher, the ongoing series, and he wrote it for more than 5 years, actually. He wrote the first 50, I think, without an interruption, and he did several after that. He also wrote Punisher Wars Journal and things. But Jerry Conway, truthfully, although he detests the character, he did write it. And how embarrassing that Jerry Conway would make bones about this article only because it said Mike Baron was the creator of it. That's the only flaw he saw in this. This is really an insane lunatic fringe article, but I digress. Go ahead.
I get you. I'm gonna give myself the big screen, which means, Pops, I'm not gonna see the chat because I'm full screened on this now.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to skip past the first part of this. Guess what? I can't do that and scroll the article at the same time. So that sucks. That's okay. I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to just go to the tab. So I'm not even looking at y'all now. I'm looking at this article. And here it introduces Mike Baron and Richard Bonk, the creative team on here. Stochastic terrorist Mike Baron and his partner in conspiracy, scribbler Richard Bonk. I want to skip this first paragraph because it's an update. I want to get back to that. But this is where it all began.
Do you know what a stochastic terrorist is?
It's a random person.
Well, it's a new term, I'm told, by Michael Bancroft, or at least somebody in his chat, that it's a new term that the progressive left are using to accuse people of racism and terrorism without having to show any proof of it. So this person or these persons use the term stochastic terrorist frequently.
Yeah, because if you just say, go to Google and say define stochastic, you get randomly determined, having a random probability distribution or pattern that may be analyzed statistically, but may not be predicted precisely. It's
imprecise. It's an imprecise label that they've decided to apply.
Yeah. But this person here, Star Mignon, who's the writer on this piece, remember that name. We're going to be getting
Star
back
Mignon, like filet, or minion, rather. I would go with minion, but go
Star Mignon. Star Mignon. Yeah, I think that's probably more correct.
Yeah.
You go with the French version of puppet. Iraqis, Afghans, Chinese, Mexican, and Lebanese. This is all in quotes. So this is being pulled from somewhere. These are just a few of the racial and national groups that Punisher creator Mike Baron has demonized in his latest diatribe of racist propaganda and stochastic terrorism, disguised as a funny book. Called The Private American, it is about a vigilante lone wolf who has a partner, but never mind, wanted by the FBI, who wears the "Don't Tread on Me" Gadsden flag. This person, by the way, is not really a writer. And yet they are, and that's the fun part of this we're going to get to. Gadsden flag snake on his chest while he brutally murders migrant workers and families fleeing fascism abroad under the assumption that they are all human traffickers, criminals, arms dealers, drug smugglers with suitcase bombs. Okay.
That's
I want to point out, yeah, Mike Baron is the writer. He is the god of this little universe that's so many pages long. If he says that person is a human trafficker, they're a human trafficker. They're not an innocent migrant family because he created them. He knows who they are.
Can I quickly interject right there, real quick, RJ?
Yes, absolutely.
The writer of this article has never read the book.
Exactly.
Nobody has.
That's what I've been saying from the beginning.
The truth of the matter is, only the creative team, a couple of press contacts who already had to deflect the anti-immigrant charges that were flung at us, and our legal counsel. They've read the script, and they back us 100%. Go ahead.
I want to find out more about that.
I just want to say, like, right from the beginning, there was a conversation about this on one of my shows. Got a little bit heated, and people have to understand this is fiction. This is not nonfiction. This is fiction. This is something that somebody created. None of the things you see in quotes right here are part of the book.
No, you're absolutely right.
Nothing-
Now there
nothing that they're
are
representing.
Afghani terrorists in the book that come across the border, but it's no different. Pops, you make such a good point. It's no different than, say, Death Wish. You know, some people don't want to go watch Death Wish. Some people don't want to go watch Rambo: Last Blood, right? Some people don't like The Punisher. That doesn't mean you go into the comic shop, rip all the Punisher comics out, and burn them.
Guess what? Some people don't like Supergirl either because of the TV show, not because of the comic book.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, RJ, go ahead.
Let's not jump too far ahead, too fast here. This book's subject matter will likely prevent it from ever finding a home at a mainstream comics publishing house. We know why, because they've changed. Reads the script on the Kickstarter project page. You think so, huh? I wonder why. Ellipsis, no question mark.
If I could comment to that real quick too. I mean, it's just not the type of subject matter that Image is going to print.
No,
I mean, let's
But
be
it's
honest.
also, again, not true because I already offered you guys a deal to help the publishers.
Well, mainstream publishers, brother.
Yeah.
Not indie
I
cool.
publish too, Pops.
Not
I'm just
cool
saying,
indie, baby.
you know, it's
All right, go
like you
ahead.
got to start, you got to get them in the stores. And it's like, look, the stores
I
aren't
know.
going
I
to
know.
believe.
But that was the point of this, is that the mainstream biggies like Dark Horse and IDW and Dynamite and Marvel and DC, obviously, because it's not cape shit, they're not going to print this. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
But they
Now-
wouldn't touch any of his previous stuff either, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, that's why he's doing it on his own.
they've been dumping on Mike. Look, I've been on the Mike Baron. You can't mess with my friend Mike Baron train for quite a while now. I've been promoting Mike through this being his third cancellation since I've known him. It's all bullshit.
It's like ever since he and I teamed up, it's been cancellation. I need to get out of this business.
Let me interject just a
Don't you
little
dare.
Let me
That's what
interject
they want.
comic history about Mike Barrett and the Punisher. As you were talking about, he was originally the writer on it, and for like 50 issues. And at that time, it was actually an all ages book, and his sales at my stores were 10 times what the sales have been on the Punisher for the last 20 years. I mean, so he was knocking out of the ballpark when he was working on that book.
Mike is well known for his Punisher run, and let's be fair. When Mike first approached me about the Private American, he said, basically, in a nutshell, it's what would the Punisher do if he was on the border and he had a similar situation that went bad. And what this is an ex-Green Beret. He's Cuban American, and he has a friend that gets killed down. He lives in South Texas. Somebody gets killed by a cartel member.
Cuban American.
Yes.
Just so everybody understands, the protagonist is.
Yeah, the protagonist Cuban American. But, that doesn't matter. I mean, we don't even want to use that as a shield, but nonetheless, it's the Punisher going out. I mean, in the opening sequence, I wish I could just show you guys the pages. The opening scene of this comic is a small group of migrants that have been trafficked across the border by some coyotes. Mm-hmm. And the pretty girl is being dragged off into the woods by a cartel member saying, he's a coyote, he's saying, you knew the price when we brought you here. That, they're close to the border. Now we're going to rape you, and then you're good to go. And this guy, just like a Rambo movie or anything else, comes up behind that creep and slits his throat. And then tells the migrants which way to find shelter and get across the border. The description you're about to hear in this article is so far removed from reality. It's insulting on its face, but I've said enough. Go ahead, Art.
It's also hard to read because, especially if you have English as your first language.
Yeah, it's poorly written, no doubt. Yeah, it's poorly written.
It was written in an emotional.
But as you can tell at the top, it was not reviewed by DailyKos editorial. What does it say specifically there?
This content is not subject to review by DailyKos staff prior to publication. That's
why is it not? Why is it on your page? But
that's a that's a little legal trick to try to get out of getting in trouble. We'll get to that because newsflash, everybody, the DailyKos emailed me about 2 hours ago. I'll tell you all about it.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
So stick around. Stick around. This gets better.
I'm just going to read this verbatim and excuse my tongue.
I'm going to quit interrupting unless I can help.
Now live on Kickstarter and violation their terms of service for, we speak good like Bizarro now, offensive material, exempla gratia, hate speech, encouraging violence against others, etc. Projects that promote discrimination, bigotry, or intolerance towards marginalized groups. Published by Chris, they don't even look up your name, man.
They can't even read. They can't even print your name right.
I know. If you're gonna put a guy down, at least get his name right.
At least say Brawley. I know you can spell it wrong, but at least say it right.
Yeah, Siri doesn't say it right either, by the way. When I tell her to call you. Published by Chris Brawley, whose previous projects also include Mike Barron's Such a Thin Blue Line. So painful. Which was featured on Fox and Friends and drawn by an actual cop.
Oh my God.
Heavens to Murgatroyd, clutch your pearls.
Drawn by an actual cop. That sounds like a selling point to me.
That's like a horror book written by a werewolf. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Terrible idea. This past work is about vigilante police officers who have to go on a killing spree in Black communities. Was that the alternate copy?
That's a straight lie.
That's the director's cut of that comic book. The one that we actually released is about a Hispanic single mom who works as a police officer, and her partner is a Black cop. And there's a riot because the progressive liberal mayor of the town that she works in tries to placate the unmentioned Antifa rioters, and all hell breaks loose. And it's basically just a night of rioting. It's basically 24 hours in the life of a single mother who's a cop.
Trying to stay alive, not on a killing spree in a Black community. That is
vigilante cops going on a killing spree in Black communities. I'm telling you, it's the worst blood libel I've ever heard about.
I'm telling you, that's straight lies.
And I'm laughing, but I can't do anything else. They've damaged us. This article resulted in Kickstarter kicking us off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So an obvious ode to Fox News talking points and the fake news narrative about violent BLM writers, because there weren't any.
The fake news.
That's Kyle Crybaby Rittenhouse and 600 plus other right-wing extremists just this year on the path to hunting human beings for sport.
It's a lie.
The private American just turns Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and other 3%er types towards Hispanics. You mean against Hispanics? Toward Hispanic, Chinese, and Muslim peoples, and plays into the paranoid, bigoted delusions.
Another lie.
Another lie.
Stay tuned, people. It's about to tell you how we're responsible for the hammer attack on Paul Pelosi. Get ready.
I know. An explosive, gritty political thriller ripped right from today's national headlines and exposing the dangerous activities happening across America's porous borders. The same porous borders. True. Orange Hitler. Oh, Jesus Christ. Orange Hitler.
When you pull out the Orange Hitler, you know you're serious now.
I know.
Orange Hitler.
Of course, I'm sure they will no doubt play these books off as fictional exaggerations because, they are fictional. But
they're not exaggerations. That shit's really happening. There's just nobody down there stopping it.
Yeah, that would be the exaggeration part. But we all know damn well fictional exaggerations are the core belief system of the dangerous radical right, QAnon terrorists, and trigger-happy militia types. This is just a comic book like Elon Musk is just joking around when he posts Hitler memes.
So they used Hitler twice in this so far. Let's see how many times they do. Let's see how many times.
It only gets worse, boys.
Wow.
From the Charlottesville anti-Semitic, that's not how you spell Semitic.
Semitic?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
I know they can't. She doesn't spell. Anti-Semitic tiki torch, which is ironic. I will get to that. Riot to Asian hate which is usually committed by Black people, but let's not cut hairs here. To the rise of vehicle attacks, to the home invasion that left Nancy Pelosi's husband hospitalized. Well, he got hit pretty hard with a dildo hammer.
You can't make this up, everybody. It's almost like I paid somebody to write this.
Almost like a
go
parody.
Write the craziest shit you could possibly come up with.
Yeah. Projects like the
this lie to get you kicked off Kickstarter. And
That's right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
It's spoiler alert, Pops. Come on. The projects like the Private American only fan the flames of political extremism that led to the January 6th insurrection and the death of five DC police officers, all of heart attacks.
Has anyone been keeping count of the obvious provable lies yet? I've lost count, but go ahead.
Start at the beginning and just highlight to here. It's all one big one.
Pretty much.
This is the kind of radicalization disguised as entertainment that would fit perfectly on a Klansman's bookshelf between the Turner Diaries and Mein Kampf. I'm sure the publisher can table this book at the next Trump rally, right between Kanye West's White Lives Matter shirts and Nick Fuente's new book, The Incel's Guide to AR-15s.
Let me interject. Mein Kampf was written by Hitler, so we've got another Hitler reference just in case you're not keeping up.
Yeah, this is where it gets. This is the nut right here. We urge anyone. She must have a mouse in her pocket. We urge anyone who is as offended by this domestic terrorist handbook for bubblegum brains to contact support@kickstarter.com and tell them hate has no place anywhere, let alone their platform where decent people go to bring their hopes and dreams to life to make the world a better place.
I think I got a cavity with how sugary sweet that ending was.
Now I'm coming into this completely cold.
Can we see some?
Hold on, I want to hear Michael. Hang on.
Now, I'm coming to this completely cold, had no prior knowledge of any of this. And the first question I've got to ask is, who the hell's this guy doing the hit piece on you?
Yeah.
It's a herd.
We're getting there, Michael. We're getting there.
Yeah. It gets better, Michael. Trust me.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm gonna share it back up here again because
Go ahead.
There's one thing here at the top. I want to make sure that people see. I told you I was going to go back to the top because this did get kicked off a Kickstarter. So they updated it.
Yep.
So update. This very racist comic book has in fact already been removed from Kickstarter. Problem is, it has just come to our attention that it is also live on Indiegogo, and here's an email address, and on the new platform, misspelled, Crowdfunder, and another email address. You know what to do.
Yep.
Wow.
And they have.
No.
They have sent the messages.
No.
Before you show the comment section, Howard, RJ, should I talk about sort of the timeline of what happened?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Go
Hang
ahead.
on just a second.
Sure. It's your show,
Do
baby.
that, and I'll give you visual aids.
Oh, I like visual aids. It sounds bad, but it's actually a good thing. Visual aids.
Like glasses, visual aids, glasses.
You know what? Let me just say this, just for shits and giggles, because you're working that out, RJ. Just leave us alone and let us print our book to the people that want to buy it. I mean, give me a frippin' break.
I'm kind of hoping
Just
that somehow
leave
this
us
will actually
alone.
work in your advantage. You'll get you some knowledge, make more people wear your book. Oh, I'm hoping you see a bounce out of this. I don't know.
Well, we'll get to that. We've seen a little bit. I will say this. I'm proud of our supporters because every dime that we lost when Kickstarter suspended us and refunded all of the backers, we've already made it up.
Good,
So
good.
we have
I
not
hate
lost.
seeing people just doing hatchet jobs like this. A predetermination of content, and I just not even close to what you would call journalism at all.
It's almost like reviewing a movie and just making up shit and saying it sucks. Don't go see it. Please call the theaters to boycott it.
Yeah,
I don't want.
I did a short story where I finished Edgar Rice Burroughs' Unfinished Fragment. And I had one guy who was a very knowledgeable Burroughs fan who actually was an owner, had read that fragment. And he wrote a real negative review about my terrible story and how I broke all the canon and continuity. I'm like, you never even read it because I didn't do any of those things. But if you go to Amazon, you read that one negative review about me. And I'm like, and it's complete fiction because he never read the story.
That's like saying, I don't think people should go see Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, because that scene where he shoots the gorilla in the head is just,
The six gun gorilla, by the way.
Yes, that one. He
Available
wouldn't have
now
made
on
that
Indiegogo.
You really shouldn't have shot that plane down, man. Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
It was awful.
Chris, is this where you would like to start?
Yeah, so let me kind of give you guys a timeline of how we even discovered this, because, for those that do not know me, I don't read the DailyKos. Okay, it's a far left. It's actually a Democrat party donating company. They raise money for Democrats. If you visit the site, you'll see so much hatred towards everything from Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham to Donald Trump. And those are the polar opposites in the Republican Party. But they hate all things Republican. I think it's really more of a Marxist communist website. It was started by Mark McCullis, I think is how you say his name. He kind of got famous for something called the Journo List several years ago, back when Obama was president, which was sort of a secret whisper network among journalists so they could get all their left-wing talking points together. Anyhow, so the thing is whenever I run a campaign, I do a Google alert. I subscribe to Google Alerts so that I see the name of the campaign, or I see Mike Barron or the creator or whatever. So every day, every morning, I get an email update about my alerts that I've subscribed to. I've subscribed to a dozen or so. Well, on Thursday, this message came through Kickstarter from a Gabrielle Discordia. And Gabrielle wanted to ask me, the important questions like, why is this book so racist? And that's sort of thank you for the correction, Vicky. Why is the book so racist is almost like, when did you stop beating your wife, right? So I simply said, it isn't. And then I clicked mark as spam. You can mark something as spam. Well, you also get email. You get a direct message on the Kickstarter platform, which is what we're looking at here, but you also get a direct email when somebody sends you a message on Kickstarter. And I got another message. Now, bear in mind, this is after I had marked this person's message as spam. So I do not know why the spam function did not work. I have a suspicion, which I'll mention afterwards. But then they say it is by far the most racist comic since Flick by Frank Miller. And I must confess, I don't know. I'm not familiar with Flick by Frank Miller. I do have his anti-terrorist, should have been Batman hard copy comic. I can't remember the name of it.
Holy Terror.
Thank you. Holy Terror. Yeah. And you could argue that that's racist, but honestly, a reasonable person outside of our culture would say it's not. But nonetheless, that's just my opinion. It says coming in third is your cop comic. So they're mentioning the cop comic called Thin Blue Line, which is racist and based on lies about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is never mentioned in the book. There are no Black Lives Matter representatives, avatars, or anything of that nature. It's complete bunk. The book was published last year or earlier this year, but I think we actually published it in January. It's been reviewed by everyone from Black comic book reviewers like Jamal Baraka to the vice president of publishing over at Gemini and Previews, who said, hey, this comic could have gone either way, and this was excellent. Nice work, gentlemen. People have loved the book. It is pro-police in the end, but it also shows both sides. There's a bad cop in the comic. It's just reality. It's written from the headlines like Mike Barron does, period.
And it's fiction.
It's fiction. Now, this person goes on to say it's garbage and it's going to inspire Dylan Roofs of the world to, I don't know where these ideas come from, but I question how this person was raised and what sort of barbiturates and amphetamines they might be taking. It doesn't matter, but they say your team is spreading propaganda and profiting from glorifying un-American vigilante violence, pulled from the headlines of Alex Jones. So, I'm sure they could make that argument amongst the true believers in their tribe, and that's fine. But all you got to do is just ignore us, right? Well, at this point, since I knew the spam wasn't working, I did say something kind of salty, right? What's this one? Next time. Oh, that's the last message I got from them. And I finally.
Okay, I didn't capture the whole thing.
That's okay. I said something smart ass like, to avoid involuntary incontinence, you may want to avoid watching Death Wish Rambo Last Blood or reading any Punisher comics. Good luck with your own projects. Please stop communicating with me. That's what I said. And then they sent me this message. Between this message and my comment, I actually reached out to Twitter Trust and said, why is your spam function not working, number one?
Kickstarter
and
Trust.
what do I do about it? And they said, well, you could report the person for harassment, which I did. And even after that, this message came in. Next time you launch a comic book, ask yourself, will this sell well at a Klan rally? Because all of your books would sell well at a Klan rally. Of course, that includes Florida Man, still available at floridamancomics.com and on American Mythology Productions.
Let's talk about hate speech.
It's hate speech. Well, talk about hate speech.
This
is hate speech. Could you imagine saying this to someone face-to-face in polite company? That's hate speech. That's hate speech.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to
pay close attention to that logo, because so that morning I get those messages and I'm like, okay, that's weird, whatever. The next day I get a Google alert. So this is yesterday. So these messages came in on the 7th, which is Wednesday. And apparently on the 7th, as you can see there, this article came out. So that person sent us multiple messages the same day DailyKos published this article. Now, I didn't know about the article on Wednesday. On Thursday morning, I got the message from Google Alerts.
Well, they published it Wednesday night.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
1:36 p.m.
Thursday morning, I get a Google alert about it. And I send a message to, I tell, of course, the creative team first, but then I send a message to DailyKos's creative team. Matter of fact, I wish I could share what I wrote them, because I want to get to their response tonight. They did not do exactly what I asked, but if you'll indulge me, I'm going to tell you what I said to them.
Yeah, go on. It's your show, man.
I said, in regards to the article posted by Star Mignon, I'm the publisher of this comic book, and nothing could be further from the truth about how it is being represented by your writer. Their article is libel and defamatory, and Mike Baron's legal representatives are reviewing it now. The book is about a former veteran who is Cuban American who goes to war with the drug smugglers and human traffickers at the border after someone close to him is killed. The protagonist of the book actually protects and saves the migrants and empathizes with them. Mike Baron is an Eisner Award-winning creator, and this type of misinformation is tortuous and could negatively impact his career as an accomplished writer. The book absolutely is not racist. Mike Baron is not racist. The story does not, quote, promote hate, and is most certainly not in violation of Kickstarter's terms of service. Kickstarter approved this project after a thorough 5-day review before we launched. Furthermore, the assertion that Baron's last book, Thin Blue Line, depicts, quote, vigilante police officers who have to go on a killing spree in Black communities is perhaps the most defamatory blood libel lie I've ever read. That book, is about a Hispanic single mom and a Black cop who are dealing with riots in their city. It is painfully clear that your writer never reviewed or read either of these books. Their lies have created a campaign to harm our crowdfunding efforts through false reporting of the Kickstarting project. These are all disparaging and easily provable lies that the DailyKos has published and could have untold negative impact on our business. I see at the top that this content is marked as, quote, not subject to review by DailyKos staff prior to publication. Therefore, I now formally request that you immediately remove this dangerous misinformation before the close of business today, or you will be hearing from our legal counsel. Thank you, Chris Brawley, Big Comics, my phone number, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you've clearly been slandered.
Clearly. Yeah. There's no, I mean, it's completely provable that we've been slandered. And for the record, DailyKos averages 10 million visitors a month. It's been around since 2002, 20 years. This is an established website. Even though they host this kind of hair on fire bullshit, it's true. Now, let me say that was sent Thursday morning, yesterday morning, after I talked to the guys. 3 hours ago, a few minutes before 5 p.m. Eastern here, Marcos Molitsas. Thank you, RJ and Vicky.
I think
the founder of the website wrote me back and copied Garner K. Wing and Will Rockefeller. I'm presuming one is a lawyer because he's from HansonBridget.com and the other is from DailyKos, so I presume he's editorial. He says, "Hi, Chris. Thank you for your note. We take such matters seriously, so I'm happy to investigate this alleged defamation. Obviously, much of your claims hinge on the contents of the two books in question, Thin Blue Line and this new one. We would need to receive copies of the books to properly evaluate their contents."
Wouldn't they need that before printing a freaking article?
You would think.
Thanks, Pops. We'd be happy to do so under a non-disclosure agreement and return them after the fact. Also, a more detailed list of these alleged defamations would be helpful. Thank you, Marcus Molitsas, founder, DailyKos. My response was prompt. I said, "Marcos, thank you for your response. As I expect you are already aware, your DailyKos article has resulted in the permanent suspension of our crowdfunding campaign at Kickstarter. So the damage to our business has already begun. We've lost thousands of dollars because of your article's defamatory comments, and the damage to our creative team's reputation is incalculable. As for providing you with materials for review, The Private American has not even been published. It is scheduled to come out in April 2023. The graphic novel script has been thoroughly reviewed and vetted by our legal counsel and publishing team. So I can assure you that it is decidedly not a, quote, domestic terrorist handbook, unquote, as your website has published. As for Thin Blue Line, I will provide a digital copy gratis via download using the following coupon code from our official website. And I give him the link and the code. This is being provided with an understanding that it is a non-disclosure release. You may not reprint any portion of the book or publish a review of the book without our express written permission.
Funny, I think they already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of my point, Michael.
Yeah.
The book can be read in about 20 minutes, and I am certain that any reasonable person will be able to quickly see that it is most certainly does not depict vigilante police officers who have to go on a killing spree in Black communities. Your author has used the massive draw of your decades-old website to create a mob campaign against an Eisner Award-winning creator and is spreading their malicious lies all over social media.
Defamation.
Which have done untold monetary damage to our independent publishing efforts. And here's the spoiler alert. The fact that the writer is also a fellow comic book publisher who also happens to fund their efforts on Kickstarter makes this incident particularly insulting. I hope that we receive a suitable response from you before close of business on Monday, December 12th. For the record, I've blind carbon copied our legal representatives to this email. Thanks.
Well, it sounds like you've definitely got a case there.
Yeah, it's not just libel as you said there. I mean, I brought this image up here because I wanted to reemphasize the writer's name and the image avatar that she uses here, and then to dig into the comments that this article generated. This is not all of them. This is just some of them. I reported it to Kickstarter for hate speech. Thank you, from Coomer Ploker. Psycho Savannah just attacks their looks. Damon Griffin says, thanks for shining a light on this, Star Mignon. I've contacted Kickstarter support to express my extreme distaste and ask why that campaign isn't considered to be in violation of the terms of service cited above. My one voice is no louder than anyone else's, but in hopes of scoring a small point with them, I signed it with stats from my KS profile, which is basically that he's backed 1,753 projects. Oh, don't worry, Damon. They already had somebody's stats for Kickstarter. The other comments that were pulled off of here was, just got an email from Kickstarter and checked. It's suspended. I reported it, which is why they emailed me. By the way, I emailed Kickstarter yesterday as well, and Kickstarter hasn't responded to me at all. And I am actually on the production team for this as a collaborator for data wrangling. So they have no reason.
They have not responded. They have not responded to my queries either. As a matter of fact, their message was, in the initial was, your project has been suspended. This means that all funding has been stopped. Backers will not be charged for their pledges. And once a project is suspended, it cannot resume funding. No further action is required on your part, and we cannot comment on this suspension beyond what is stated in this message.
Yeah, they're going to comment. So
they will eventually.
So this is a website that is linked off of the Star.
Now, this is the writer of the article. You found this person's Twitter, I think. Is that right, RJ?
Yes, and it's her Twitter. This was in her profile, this website, pinknightmaresquad.com. You can,
which is a hardcore feminist website, which is fine, whatever.
Whatever she wants to sell, whatever, wear what you dig. Obviously, this is the avatar that was being used on the DailyKos avatar. So this matches up. But notice also this little bit of trivia here. Our retail partner. There's that
look
green
at that
apple.
little apple with the K in it. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. So this is, this ties back to
what's that picture with the rabbit being beaten to death with a bat? Talk about
it's kind of a violent website, but free speech. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Those are designed for Balenciaga that got rejected.
I'm sure they're okay with beating some group of people. Right?
She hates men. It's okay. Whatever. Seriously, that's the truth. I don't care. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to Kickstarter saying, have you seen this shit? Please cancel it. I'm offended.
Right. We don't do that to them. They do it to us.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I know. But yeah, there's the apple with the K in it.
So if you notice, that apple is the Gavriel Apple avatar who was sending me those messages about why is this book racist?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And racist.
Well, here's something interesting that RJ found.
This is the Gavriel and Star Mignon are funding a graphic novel on Kickstarter called SCP-500Y.
Look what it says there underneath, real small. Can you zoom in on that, RJ?
As a trusted producer, we have earned this award from Kickstarter.
So Kickstarter awards and gives you special treatment if you're a trusted producer. They've done several campaigns. I wish them well. Jesus tells us to pray for our enemies. I pray for these because they've clearly stated that they're our enemies. Jesus is cool. He's awesome. It's Christmas. I'm good with him. I love him.
Well, actually, one thing, just to be all in the fair balance, I've gotten that thing on some Kickstarters I've done when I funded like within a couple hours. So
yes, okay. Yeah, they've done. Show over here to the right hand side again, RJ. How many campaigns they've done?
26 created, 504 backed,
and over 500 they've backed. They've got a contact at Kickstarter. I assure you, they get responded to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they don't work for Kickstarter.
No. I'm not suggesting they do. No, I'm not suggesting they do.
I know that they're quick to say the same thing.
Okay.
So yeah, you can find. I'm not providing a link to this but you could, definitely find it. I'm
But
not
this
going to
is-
say you know what to do.
No, because you don't know what to do.
Off.
No.
I tell you to pray for these people. That's what you do. That's what you do. That's it. In the meantime, I'll let my lawyers put the Disney butt plug in them.
Yeah, I don't promote people that use cancel culture tactics in any form.
Me either. Let me say this real quick before you go to that next slide, RJ.
Yeah.
This DailyKos article, this DailyKos is basically red meat for progressive communists. Okay, that's all.
Sure.
So Stephen King reads it. I promise you. Maxine Waters loves DailyKos. Okay. And I'm sure there are maybe even people in the audience that like DailyKos. That's fine. Whatever. I mean, I don't care. Like what you want to like. But one particular, and there, if you've noticed a trend over the last 5 years, especially since Twitter's been such a big deal, a lot of comic book creators that work for Marvel and DC and legacy creators are hard left.
Okay?
And one such creator coincidentally
Give me a
shared
second.
this article, and this happens to be the creator of The Punisher. And you know what? He didn't mind that the article was filled with absolute provable lies about his fellow comic creator, Mike Baron. All he cared was that the article said that Mike Baron was the creator. Look at this flippin' tweet he put out yesterday.
But he said that it was Mike's assholery and white fascist embrace. What the hell is that?
Let me tell you guys something you don't know. Mike and Jerry Conway were going to appear at a Colorado comic convention, and it was planned that they were going to debate The Punisher. Can you think of a more interesting debate than the creator and the guy that wrote him more than anybody, other than
The
maybe
guy who made him
Garth?
popular.
It would have been cool.
That was a heavily sought after talk workshop. And guess who called in sick?
Well, not Mike. He's too tough for that.
That's right. But guess what Mike said publicly about it when somebody asked him? I wish him well. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But look what Jerry Conway says publicly about Mike Baron.
Mm-hmm.
He's not, emphasis, not the Punisher creator. The actual creators of the Punisher condemn Mike Baron's assholery and his white fascist embrace of the Punisher symbol. Please correct your headline, because the headline says creator of the Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super disappointing. You're absolutely right. Jerry's a great writer. Don't get me wrong. I don't take anything away from Jerry, but his shit stinks.
I'm
And,
still
and
mad
they-
about
he
that.
is, of course, sharing the article.
Sharing the article. And here is Gabrielle. Now, wait
On
a
Twitter.
minute. Wait a minute, Gabrielle. I thought you were just a Kickstarter super trusted creator sending me spam. Look at what Gabrielle says here. Thank you, Jerry, for clarifying the headline. The title has been fixed. My bad. My bad. What's
And then
my
they blame
bad
you.
mean? What do you mean, my bad? You mean you wrote the article?
Yeah, it's starting to look that way, isn't it?
Wait a
Look
minute.
that way.
So they say the way they, and I think the way the they is me.
Right.
The way Mike Baron's team pitches him in their projects was misleading.
So
And
everybody's
I don't
watching
really
Mike.
have any time to do any investigative journalist. I just need to throw as much shit on the wall to see what sticks. Please
So
forgive me.
basically, if he runs into a tweet that says, "Hey, this is what's happening to Superman writer Tom Taylor," he's perfectly okay with going ahead and creating an article that says Superman creator Tom Taylor.
Tom Taylor, creator.
Understand.
Hey, and you know what? Honestly, the way that I have loosely talked about Mike being a creator who wrote The Punisher for 5 years, whatever. You know what? I'm okay with Gabrielle being confused. What I enjoyed the most about this tweet in particular, RJ, and I'm glad you show it off, it was my bad. What does that
Yep.
mean? What do you mean, my bad? I thought you were just a Kickstarter comic book publisher. How are you taking responsibility for the headline? What do you mean the title has been fixed? How did you fix that? And why was it your bad? It's telling, guys. It's
Maybe
telling.
he just told Star to go in and fix her head.
Well, that's true because he and Star are collaborators.
And that's what I want to get to. We've talked about the libel. We've talked about the lies. Here's the thing that sticks out to me. Gabrielle and Star Mignon are creating a Kickstarter graphic novel. They're creating a graphic novel on Kickstarter. Let me state that more precisely.
I'm creating a graphic novel on Kickstarter.
Yeah, you have two people in the same industry on the same sales platform, and one of them goes to the boss and says, if he tweaked my little pink tomato nose, I would, and whispers in their ear. We've seen this happen before. We have a word for this. We have two words for this. It's called tortious interference.
Yep.
And it's actionable. Now, I don't know what your plans are, Chris. I don't know if you can even speak to what your plans are, but if you can, we're all ears.
Well, let me just say that we have potentially the most thoughtful, familiar with the comic book industry legal advisors about free speech and censorship that we could possibly have. And I'm not going to name who it is right now. I've shared with you privately, RJ.
I know.
I will say that when I copied them on the email response to DailyKos tonight, within 5 minutes of me sending that email, he said to me, thank you for copying me on. I'll read you exactly what he said. Chris, thanks for the blind carbon copy on the Marcos email. Please send me a code for Thin Blue Line 2. I'll read through it tonight. So we had engaged this gentleman when we were shadow banned. I don't know if everybody knows this or not. The headline main article at bleedingfool.com, not Bleeding Cool because we're not as cool as them. We're the fool. Bleeding Fool is all about this from top to bottom. And if somebody can share that, that'd be great. Thanks, Doc Blalock. Hail Blalock.
Pops, I figured you're on that.
And it starts because listen, when Mike Baron first presented this idea, this story to me, we both knew it had the potential to piss people off. I mean, come on. It's political. It's the border. Yep. It's guns. And people hate guns. And we've actually got some people out there like this person or these people. I don't know if it's two people or one, Star and Gabrielle, that are open borders activists. That's all. They love open borders and they hate cops, period. So we're coming from a different philosophy. And for the record, Mike Baron used to not think much of police officers until his first wife died. And the police handled that with such reverence and respect. He had a whole new respect for cops. And he's good friends with Joe Arnold, the artist on Thin Blue Line. And he just said, you know what? I want to write a book that deals with some of the struggles they deal with. And I want to honor them in the end. And I'll make a female protagonist that everyone can identify with. And we'll just make a great story. And it's the kind of story, honestly, it's probably one of the best stories Mike Baron's ever written. And you can get it at thinbluelinecomics.com and you'll get it delivered in time for Christmas. Enough said about that.
Yeah.
So he came to me with The Private American. And I said, Mike, this is going to be, we should expect some pushback on this. So this doesn't really surprise us. So the first pushback, the first week of our campaign, actually before the campaign's ever launched, I started a Twitter account called PVT American. You can go there right now at pvtamerican.com. And all it did was retweet articles from CBS, CNN, Fox, you name it, about the border, the crisis, Border Patrol having problems, high suicide rates among Border Patrol agents, migrant rapes, fentanyl, you name it. I mean, there's plenty going on down there. And there's one city in Texas where 2,000 migrants per day, every day, 2,000 migrants are walking across the border. Welcome, Doc.
Chris, good to see you. Mike, RJ, thank you for the link. Pops, good to see you. I'm in 100% agreement with everything you're saying, and this is smells allegedly like criminal activity. But Chris, I just wanted to point out, like I wrote in the chat, I am a believing Christian, but I do believe in the imprecatory Psalms as well. So rise up, Lord, confront them, bring them down with your sword, rescue me from the wicked.
Amen. Vengeance is his. Vengeance is his.
And all the other
Make me an instrument.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we pray for our enemies, but we certainly don't put food on their table.
Well, I pray they learn a lesson, maybe.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
I've had some bad things happen to me, and I learned some real good lessons. One of them was a car wreck or a motorcycle wreck. But anyhow.
I'm here to tell you, buddy. I'm here to tell you. But Pops mentioned this to me this morning, and then I'm going to let you continue. I don't want to interrupt. I spent the day recovering from being sick. That was one thing. And number two, researching what Pops mentioned about this DailyKos and getting up to speed on it. And I did speak with, well, no, I better not say that because he's going to be a guest on my show. But yeah, this smells a lot like it might allegedly, from this layman's point of view and opinion only, be tortious interference by these mongrels.
I agree. I don't know yet what is going to happen because I have to confess that our legal counsel is not, how do I say this? He's really still just trying to get a handle on what's happening, right?
Mhm.
This has all happened so fast
Yeah.
that I think he's stunned. And typically he represents the other side politically.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what do you mean this school won't let my gay grooming comic book in the library?
Oh my God.
You understand what I'm saying?
Where did you find this guy?
I mean, you've heard of them. I'm going to leave it there. I'll leave it there. So, but he's taking it seriously. He's taking it very seriously. And I will tell you that we've got some heavy hitters that referred him to us. And I'd love to name them, but I can't. I'm just trying to, and guys, I'm being as honest and as transparent as I literally can. Okay. I don't need, the strategy is almost, and this is shout out to Mike Barron here. The strategy here is we don't necessarily want to show them our hand.
No.
But they're caught dead to rights.
Yes.
Not only are they caught dead to rights, but Indiegogo is too. Now, Twitter, not so much, but let me go back to what happened with
Kickstarter,
Twitter.
or do you still mean Indiegogo?
Both. Indiegogo and Kickstarter, both.
Okay.
And DailyKos. And Gavriel. And Star Mignon. It's
all out there in the daylight.
It's right there, and we've archived everything.
Come on.
Before I would engage any of them, I went ahead and just go to archive.is, and I say, okay, thank you. I'm going to get a backup of this right away.
Yeah, absolutely, because those delete fingers are going to be flying.
Well, they've already changed the headline, Dot.
Yeah. And
so who knows what else, other stealth edits they'll do. Hey, listen, I'm a publisher. I've stealth edited. Sure. Whatever. Do what you got to do. But I'm going to catch you when you're breaking, at least civilly. You've come between me and my money.
Exactly right.
I got a wife. I got bills. And I'm doing this for a percentage from these creators who are putting themselves out.
Honest businessman.
It's a business.
Trying to do honest business.
That's all. We're just trying to publish an indie comic.
Yeah.
Leave us alone. Yeah.
Comic.
Hey, Mr.
So we're not doing Mein Kampf, by the way, or the Turner Diaries, or whatever absolute ludicrousness. I mean, in other words, it's like, what is the most hateful thing you can say about Mike Barron? And you said it. Not to mention, Mike is married to a Korean woman. Our letterer is black. Our colorist is Indonesian. If we were racist, we would look like Stormfront. We'd all have a shaved head, I bet. We're not that way at all, guys. My hair stopped growing, and I said, God, you've got a plan. Let's hurry it up. That's why I shaved my head. That's it.
Now, the thing about you mentioned those books that they, try to throw against you. Yeah. Mein Kampf and the Turner Diaries. Those books are still being printed. Those books are still available in the libraries.
Yeah. Are they hassling Amazon?
Yeah, exactly. You coined a term earlier today that has stuck with me, that what they've done is digital book burning.
This is digital book burning. This is a brain trust right here. I mean, I don't see how the five of us couldn't get in front of any judge and that judge would say, "You're absolutely right. You win. These assholes have got to pay."
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's right and
Hey,
it's wrong and it's
you
obvious.
know what this?
Yeah.
I got to admit, what this reminds me of is like that TV show, Stupidest Criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't have to be too smart.
It's
Well,
like
hey, there's
comic
more.
books meet Stupidest Criminals. It's
Yeah.
like I just
There's
Well,
more
Chris,
because
I saw your
RJ got
take.
into a little bit of a tit for tat with Gabrielle online. RJ found out Gabrielle's Twitter account.
Yes.
It is in that Twitter feed. You saw earlier where Gabrielle said, "My bad, I'll fix that headline," or whatever. Gabrielle also admits, "I'm a comic publisher."
Yes.
So there's a law which Doc Blalock referred to as, and RJ, I think everybody's kind of said tortious interference. Look it up.
Yes.
Look it up. Tortious interference. As a matter of fact, I've got a definition of it right here. I wonder why I've got it pulled up and very handy.
It just happens to be laying
Just
there.
happens to be right here.
I'm very familiar with this, by the way, because and I'll take credit for having introduced it into the lexicon of the comics
Mark
publishers.
Waid.
Yeah, because of Mark Waid, and actually it was because of the stores on Facebook that had an independent group in the back that were saying, "Hey, we're not going to carry Richard Meyer's book. Is that cool? Are you going to carry it?" No, good. I was living in St. Louis at the time. I was near Washington University, which is a prestigious law university. And I've got on the website, and Gabriel, you can look this up, but you have to spell things correctly to find things in our search term. Otherwise, it comes back to the blank page. I interviewed the guy and said, what's the deal here? What do you call this? And he said, well, what the thing going on with these retailers here, this is called a legal boycott, and it's perfectly fine, blah, blah, blah. It's not nice, but, they can do it. He said, more interesting is the thing with the creators, since they're both in the same industry. The guy has a case here for tortious interference. and that's where we laid out the 5 elements necessary for tortious interference in a handy dandy table that went line by line item, the things that had happened in that case. Said, yep, that looks right to us.
Lord grant me stupid enemies.
Yes. And live in interesting times. I think that that case, they actually kind of either both.
They got tired of it.
Yeah, because it was just too costly. But I honestly think, based on what I'm seeing, and obviously I'm biased, but I almost feel like this is a better case.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen one more cut and dry myself.
It does seem pretty prima facie, to me.
Yeah. I wanted to commend you, Chris and RJ, on your just balls to the wall journalism on this. You guys got out there and just laid this thing bare for the world to see. Concise, clean, and I know that the leftoids and the copaholics will be, having their heads explode tonight because they can't spin this.
Yeah,
but it is what it is,
Yeah, it is what it is. We've caught them with their pants down. For those in the chat, the tortious interference. This is the definition.
Yeah,
intentionally interfering with someone's business. This may be by directly interfering with a business deal or by interfering with the day-to-day operations or even by spreading false claims about the business.
Ding, ding, ding.
So you might say, well, how do you have standing? Here's how you have standing. They said it's racist, attack, Kickstarter. In less than 24 hours, Kickstarter suspended our campaign with no recourse.
And what gives it that tortious component is that they share that same platform to draw their income.
That's right. And the same industry.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're drawing attention to themselves by standing on you.
That's right.
Now, my question, Chris, to you, I didn't find this part in my research today. And again, I've been kind of sickly today, so I'm not as vigorous as usual. My understanding, though, is the Streisand effect has helped you a bit on Indiegogo. Is that it?
Well, I will say this. Now, I didn't get to it, but yes, Indiegogo had shadow banned us, so you have to have a direct link to get there.
Right.
But we had only, let me frame this right. We like Indiegogo the best because that's what most of our users use. When we did Thin Blue Line, we raised $96,000 on Indiegogo. We raised $45,000 on Kickstarter. Okay.
Mhm.
So Indiegogo is our go-to.
Mhm.
But with Indiegogo shadow banning us, we had started saying, well, you know what? Kickstarter's always treated us respectfully. Okay. I literally had this conversation 48 hours ago with Graham Nolan, Aaron Lepestri, Mike Barron.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll say this, the reason for that is Kickstarter, when we did Thin Blue Line, one of the neat things that we did in that campaign was that we said, if we hit $50,000 with this campaign, which we did, it said, and on Kickstarter, I think it said if we hit 25,000, because we did Kickstarter as an afterthought. We said, if we hit this, we will donate $1,000 to the following 3 police-related charities. One is one that's a foundation for fallen officers. One is one that gives money to the families of officers who are killed. And the third is one that trains them in Brazilian jiu-jitsu so that they don't have to use lethal force when they apprehend.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So we listed that as a stretch goal. Well, somebody reported us, because you're not supposed to raise money for charities on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. Now, Indiegogo didn't say anything about it, but Kickstarter sent us an email and they said, we have hidden your campaign from search, which is obviously a function that they both use. But at least Kickstarter honestly told us, because you're raising money for charities, we have hidden it. Please remedy this and let us know when you do, and we'll remove the ban on your campaign. And they did. To their credit, they did. So that was kind of my pitch. I was pitching for Kickstarter 48 hours ago. Okay.
Right. Golly.
And we have a
Kickstarter gave you that option to clean it up. So if this had been a TOS violation today, or yesterday, they would have done the same thing. They said that's what they do. They say, this is out of line, fix this, and we go back to town.
Well, when you're raising money, it makes sense to me that if someone's in violation, you say, hey, guys, we're going to pause your campaign for a minute. You need to fix these things so that you're not in violation, right? You're not like a HOA that finds out, oh, you're flying the Gadsden flag. We're going to burn your house down.
Right.
You notify the homeowner and you say, take the flag down. That's all. And and then that gives us the option to say, oh, we'll fix that, or screw you, we're done. Right?
We see, this is my problem. They have an approval process.
Yep.
And in my opinion, once something's been approved, I don't care who cries about it. Either clean up your approval process so that you go through all these things that people flag. Either clean up your approval process and leave the creators alone, or just quit doing comics altogether.
Or hey, you know what? Or like I said, Pops, give me the option to clean it up or depart or end the campaign. I'll just end it right now. We'll call it quits. And everybody's happy.
That should be flagged in the approval process.
Of course.
If there's an issue.
I will say this, because I know there's people in the chat that say, if you change anything about your campaign, but that's not true, because there's something called stretch goals.
Right.
And when you hit a stretch goal, you have to go edit the campaign and say, this stretch goal is now unlocked. That's an edit.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that I've heard is you can't promote other campaigns because that's spam.
See, people didn't like when I did that either, but that's what I do.
I get it. Listen, but every crowdfunding blog on the internet says you should cross promote, says you should find other people with other campaigns and say, hey, go check out our friends over here and they'll do it in return. Matter of fact, Kickstarter actually encourages it. However, it was pointed out, and I'll say it was pointed out, I think by the Wikiverse, that in Indiegogo's TOS, they call that spam, and they basically reserve the right to screw you, hide you, whatever, if you do it. Well, I quickly said, wait a minute. And another person was saying, oh, because you guys have been late before. Well, Florida Man was late, but we updated our backers every 2 weeks. And the reason it was late, because our first artist tried to screw us by tracing stuff and dragging his ass, getting stuff done. And we had to fire him. That's simple as that. I'm not going to say which one, but it was one of the artists on Florida Man. We wound up using no less than 5 artists, including Val Merrick, the great Val Merrick. So it wasn't Val Merrick that I'm referring to.
Right.
But saying that, Thin Blue Line was fulfilled the month after I think we said May, and we were fulfilling in June. So it wasn't late. But I pointed out, even my buddy, Brian Christgau, he was promoting his Zoop campaign. Thank you, Brian. He was promoting the Zoop campaign on Indiegogo and Kickstarter, and he's been late before. They didn't shadow ban Brian. They didn't shadow ban Richard C. Meyer. You want to talk about somebody that's been late and who promotes his other campaigns? So this was targeted, and it was targeted.
Get me started, Chris.
It was targeted by individuals filing reports.
Can I interrupt something
Please.
right here? They did update the headline. It does say Punisher writer.
Oh, good.
Whoever's doing this to Star, please stop. Okay, and I'm going to assume that somebody's doing it because she said it. It has been brought to my attention, but
Oh boy,
I'm going to say brought, that the creative team behind the racist comic book. This is, by the way, December 9th, 2:53 a.m. Central Standard Time. So this is new.
Get some sleep.
Behind the racist comic book has been getting deleted from social platforms and having their ads rejected for quite some times now, at least according to the multiple blogs this current publisher owns and operates, and the right-wing podcasts Mike likes to appear on. They also now think we are the, quote, big tech elite puppet masters, end quote, anti-Semitic slurs, of course, behind all of it, going back years. In typical paranoid right-wing fashion, it's a conspiracy. We are also getting suspicious emails. So if my family gets slain in the middle of the night by masked assailants...
Oh, no, you got to show this, RJ. I don't believe you. Please show this on the
Oh,
screen.
my fucking
You want me to
God.
show this? I will show this.
Holy buck.
Share
Words
screen.
just kill these people, man. Words just hurt
Words
them.
are violence.
I want the window. No, I
That
want
comic book that I was never going to read frightens me.
When
Don't want
when
you
your
to
when your enemy is busy destroying themselves, don't interrupt them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just give them rope. Yeah.
here we go. Let me make this visible. Folks, I apologize. I can't zoom in on text like I can on the images. So make your screen big if you got to. Last paragraph of the update here. We are also getting suspicious emails. So if my family gets slain in the middle of the night by masked assailants in Punisher t-shirts, this update will lead the FBI to their doors.
Is this is this the Babylon Bee?
It's gotta be satire, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say this.
Yeah. So quick timeline. We got suspended on private or PVT American Twitter after about 5 days. It said something about evading ban. I don't know what that means because I also run the Bleeding Full, my own personal Twitter, the one for Thin Blue Line and the one for Florida Man Comics. None of them
People
have been
make
banned.
new Twitters all the time for new products.
Yeah. And it wasn't doing anything, but it got banned, and Twitter has not, even with Elon Musk taking over, we have not gotten the Twitter account back. And to be fair, it's not like we had a whole lot of subscribers. Okay. I've seen that pointed out that we had only raised like $2,500 on Kickstarter. And I want to get to that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
When we hit $25,000, Dan Lawless, the great artist Dan Lawless, had a cover for us, a variant cover for Private American. It's beautiful. I don't know if you can show it, but it's out there. So Dan, rather than telling people go to http://indiegogo.com/Chris Brawley he said, just go to Indiegogo and search for Private American or Mike Baron. It'll turn up. Because at first, our first day on that platform, we raised 10 grand. First day with Ethan Van Sciver's help. Don't get me wrong. Comicsgate is the reason it lit a fire under our ass. There's no doubt about it. Mike is a Comicsgate king, so be it. And of course, Comicsgate hates all women, all people of color, all left-wingers, all foreigners, all babies, only cis white males allowed, which is a joke. But anyhow, I'm sorry, that's the Scotch talk.
Chris and RJ.
Yep.
Look at the tags on the left right there.
I
Tags on the
know.
left.
Charlottesville border.
BLM, border,
discrimination.
Comics, discrimination, hate speech, migrants, Muslims, propaganda.
Do you know the word Muslim is never mentioned in this book or in any of the promotion? It does say Iraqis.
And
go down to that real quick where it
Comicsgate.
says Iraqis, Afghanis. Basically, that's part of the text on one of the campaigns where it says different terrorists from all kinds of countries are coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on, Doc. I know what you're going to say here, and I want to point this out because this is update material. Notice it says border, Charlottesville, comics, discrimination, hate speech, migrants. What do you notice about this? Alphabetical order.
Mm-hmm. Until
After violence. Oh, we've got new things to add here.
yes, exactly my point, sir.
Yep.
Hey, Grizz, good to see you.
Blue lives.
January 6th.
Now, if you go and look at this person's Twitter account, which I don't recommend you do, you'll see them now talking about Comicsgate. They also mention this Indiegogo shadow ban as sort of a, well, it's not my fault Kickstarter kicked them off. They've been shadow banned for weeks, according to their own updates or something. So what we think happened was just people that don't like Comicsgate came after a few select Comicsgater campaigns. And rather than ban us or suspend us or do whatever, Indiegogo just quietly shadow banned us. But what's really, again, if you'll go to this top article on Bleeding Fool right now, it's called Social Justice Comic Creators Organize a Mob to Cancel Mike Baron's Campaign. It's a bit wordy. Sorry. You'll see that not only is there a video showing, you can go right now to Indiegogo and type Private American or Mike Baron, and you will not find that campaign, which is very much active. And probably as of right now, we've raised just shy of 40 grand. Let me see. 611. 39,611. We've more than made up for the $2,600 that we had raised on Kickstarter. And the reason for that is we were happy with Indiegogo. We were good with it and we were promoting it. And so for a long time, before I launched the campaign, I bought URL theprivateamerican.com. You can always go to theprivateamerican.com. That's our website. But for the launch of the campaign, I just redirected that URL to the Indiegogo page. So we like Indiegogo for multiple reasons. As RJ mentioned at the beginning, Critical Blast does fulfillment and basic data wrangling. You know, you download all this information about these backers. You got to know what they backed, where they lived, how to print off the labels, yada, 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 how much they gave you, blah, blah, blah. So RJ has been very good. He's done that for the last two campaigns I ran with Mike, and he's going to do it for this one. And we just happen to like Indiegogo better because Indiegogo right now, I can access all my backers' information. I can go ahead and get all their emails right now. Kickstarter, you cannot get their information until they fill out what is lovingly termed a survey. Now, if you're like me and you've had email for the last 10 years, the last thing you ever open is an email asking you to fill out a survey. Believe it or not, I've got about 100 backers on Kickstarter that have never filled out the survey for Thin Blue Line, and I've been begging them for a year to fill it out.
I've got books above my head here from a handful of different campaigns that all belong to the same person because that person never fills out their Kickstarter. I'm like, but you keep backing things. Do you ever wonder where your stuff is?
There are strangers. It's a strange world, and I love it. Thank you, Disney. So once we learned that, so Dan was like, go find the book, search for it. And that's when we learned that you can't find it. It's shadow banned. And we looked and we emailed Indiegogo, and our friends emailed Indiegogo, and other guys in CG emailed Indiegogo. And at first you'll get we'll look into this. And then you get the response, we're going to upgrade this to our trust and safety board. And then that's it.
Well, you got more than me. I got nothing going to support. I got nothing directly contacting as a media agent, their media agent, to have them address this. I emailed directly their CFO. I mean,
we've contacted the CEO directly. We're not getting any response, which to me is all the proof I need that you know damn well we're shadow banned and you're not going to admit it. Simple as that. Yes, we shadow ban you and we're not going to tell you why. Get over it.
And
want
they
to use
don't
the
have to,
platform?
according to their terms of service. That's the shitty part. They
Yeah.
can do whatever they want. You guys basically agreed to they got control of your shit.
That's right.
They can
You're
turn
right.
it on and off whenever they want. But when you add the factor of somebody outside of it causing people to go to them and email them about your campaign with false accusations and misrepresentations, and they act on it without fucking investigating,
Or
now
asking.
it's their problem.
They didn't do a single, they never even asked. They took their trusted creator at their word.
It's their problem. Now
even though
they
I had done
mispresent-
3 successful
misrepresent you
campaigns
too.
with them, the person they believed was the person who was clearly harassing me,
Mhm.
who I had clearly blocked and marked as spam. But they took the word. And here's why, because the culture at Kickstarter thinks mostly the same way as Gavriel.
Mhm.
They don't like cops.
They hate us. Yeah.
They don't like right-wingers.
They hate us.
The only project I've ever done over there that got the Project We Love badge was Florida Man, which is a project everybody should love. It's hilarious. One of the heroes in the book is a Black Jamaican transgender person. There ain't nothing political in that book, and it's the true meaning of adult funny books. Trust me.
It's great. It's great. It's good
great.
stuff.
So once we knew Indiegogo was doing this, we had this big conversation about, well, we're just going to go to Kickstarter. And we've been experimenting with crowdfunder, DR at the end, not DER, crowdfunder. It's a UK company. And what we decided was we're just going to put it up on crowdfunder and we're not going to promote it. So it's raised almost $500 maybe in a month. Right now it's sitting at $485. The goal is 500. And I just said, because once we hit our Indiegogo goal, everything else is just gravy. It's like, okay, however many books you want to order, we don't need a high goal, right? The high goal was set at Indiegogo. So Kickstarter hit its goal in an hour because we set a $500 goal there. And so we were around $2,600. And what I told Mike and Rich, the creators, the other day, I said, well, let's just start pushing Kickstarter. They've been good to us. And we had a press release ready to go and a big marketing campaign that was going to roll out today. Kickstarter, they're our man. If they can't do it, nobody can. And obviously we've pulled the plug on that. Matter of fact, we had some cross promotion going on, and I had to, with my hat in my hands, email a couple of campaigns and say, don't tell people to go back our campaign. I'm sorry, we can't help yours either. Please go to Bleeding Fool's Indie Comics Showcase link and I'll do an article for you. I mean, we've been doing that for a few years. You can get a free write-up on Bleeding Fool if you're crowdfunding or you got an Amazon book or whatever. But so basically all of our plans were overturned because of this a-hole that's easily triggered and making up lies. And also, as it so happens, is a direct competitor for our audience.
And there's an old saying that what goes around comes around. And now that boomerang spinning, all of a sudden another one crying conspiracy.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, bullies can never take what they like to dish out.
That's right. No, it's true. I mean, let this be a lesson to them, I hope, but we're not going to stop. We're talking to some heavy hitters on our end. And I'll tell you what, RJ, privately, I'll tell you in the private chat, 2 of the names I think everybody would recognize. I mean, these are people with 500,000 followers on Twitter.
Remember, the private chat's not all that private.
Huh?
Private chat's not all that private. Everybody in this circle is going to see it.
Well, I don't mind if everybody in that circle does, but I'm going to put one of the names in there right now. This person's looking at it. And no, that's a good name, by the way, Doc.
Yes.
I like him, and he's from my hometown, actually, from Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
The other name is, and both of them go under those names on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they're looking at it, and we'll see what happens. And the other people that are looking at it, and this is just in the private chat, I do not want any of this information released.
So don't copy it, guys.
Yeah, don't copy this. This is just because of you guys.
I was silent because I was reading that article over again because they added so much to the bottom as well. They decided to pull Based Stickman into the fray. Here. a book that he did not write and actually took himself off the project. But
that's right.
It's nice to be a trusted member of the community.
Yeah, you guys are trusted members. So don't share that with anybody, but just don't be surprised if, Lord willing, that one of these guys decides to go to bat for us. One of them, actually, the third one there is who we're working with. That's who's being copied on all the correspondence. They're in the know. They know what's going on, but typically they support, left-wing projects. So they're really being ginger about this, because if they go to bat for us publicly, they're going to catch hell.
That first name that I mentioned, tag him on a Twitter post.
That's a good idea. And feel free to do the same. Guys, this article, I want you guys, really, the article that we just published on Bleeding Fool has everything. RJ supplied so much, so many good screenshots and fodder, and basically just kind of threw water on this guy, and he just, or she, and they just kept, we didn't know they were a comic publisher. Thanks for mentioning that. We didn't know that you were the one responsible for the headline on that article. Thanks for mentioning that.
Right.
But I'm not going to run out there and say, how dare you? You're going to rue the day. You're going to regret this. You know what? Just keep talking. I'll collect the evidence that you keep producing, and we'll have our day in court. Simple as that. So
graciously provided me with everything I need to sink your boat.
There you go.
Sun Tzu said, when your enemy's making a mistake, do not stop him.
That's right. And so I hope that everybody listening, watching this as a replay or whatever, will go to that Bleeding Fool article and just share the heck out of it. Because listen, man, Mike's just writing comic books, and a website with 10 million visitors a month just did an active assault on him to do two things: destroy what's left of his reputation and take money out of his pocket. And that's wrong on every level. And when you've got guys like Jerry Conway, the flippin' creator of Punisher, then having ammunition that they're signal boosting, how much damage is that doing to Mike Baron? He'll never work for a major publisher again unless we get a full retraction and apology.
There's a third goal too, though, that they
have,
and that is to make an example of anyone who dare oppose the message. The message.
That's right. The narrative. Thanks, Critical Blast. Yep.
Yes.
That's hilarious. So you might, folks, be watching this on a replay on several different YouTube channels or on Facebook. You may also be watching this on a replay on the embed, which will be in the Critical Blast article soon to follow this, which will have beneath it the link to the article that I just put in the chat for Bleeding Fool, and then all of the screenshots in order as which I showed them on here. I'm not going to link to the DailyKos file. You can find that easily enough by Google. You don't need me to do it.
Well, it's linked in that Bleeding Fool article, and it's an article.
There you go.
You can find
you can get
all there. Yeah, it's all there. We've mentioned it on this live stream. I think what I'll do, RJ, is I'm going to embed this discussion because sometimes you can read stuff and kind of gloss over it, and then you're sort of like, good points were made in this discussion by Pops, by Doc, by Michael, and by you that I hadn't even thought of. And I think that might be helpful to sort of give a little more nuance and context for what's really going on and a new perspective, because I don't think you can look at this any other way than it being wrong, but there's so many different levels that it's wrong on. That it's helpful that you guys have did you notice that they also did this, and I'm like, what?
This
good
is the wrong lasagna. This is like
it's a wrong casserole. Yeah.
You guys remember them jungle juice watermelons where you cut a hole in it and you just poured one bottle after another into it? That's what this
151. Yeah. Yeah, I got sick off that before. This is basically the left will use any means necessary at their disposal to shut down opposing narratives. And that's what they tried to do here. Right. I think what's happening here is we're pushing back.
Well, the thing is it's not even an opposing narrative. If they'd read the freaking book, they'd realize that the Cuban American is helping the freaking immigrants.
But they
That
can't
doesn't
read it yet
matter
because
to
it
them.
doesn't exist.
I
It
know.
doesn't matter to them.
When you go out in the live,
You're right. It doesn't matter to them, Doc, because that's not the point. The point
Exactly.
is we want to whip up outrage to shut that campaign down.
right?
That's it.
But
Without ever giving
Chris,
it a
you
chance.
just said it a minute ago, and I think RJ said it too. You can only stretch that rubber band back so far before it snaps back the other way.
Yeah.
And we have watched the social and political left see just how far they can go with assaults on everything. It's snapping back now. And it started, I think, with Elon Musk buying Twitter and shining a light on that cesspool.
Yeah.
And how much more is going to come out of it. And they're going to find out quickly that when that big ass rubber band the size of a house snaps back, it's going to sting. And I don't
Well,
mean
it
violence.
doesn't hurt to have
I mean with social movements. I mean with legislation.
Backlash.
It doesn't hurt to have people like
backlash.
Ethan and the Cracker and all these other people that are out here shining the light too, that have been doing it
Right.
for a long time.
Right.
Eric July. There's a whole bunch of people that have been saying, "Hey, man, a lot of this shit's funky, yo." You know,
I told Mike the other day, honestly, before this came up, I said, Mike, I'm kind of tired of us looking like a victim. It's just so old. I just don't want to keep being a crybaby about shit that's happening to us. Because, the Indiegogo thing, it's not just that they shadow ban us, guys. I want you to know it's worse than that. They actually, if you go and click the little heart icon on our Indiegogo campaign, that means you want to follow the campaign
and get updates.
Did you know that these hidden campaigns, even if you opt in to follow, you do not follow them? You can go to your campaigns I follow page and it won't be listed. And you won't get updates.
Nope, you don't get nothing.
They've not only hidden them from their users that wouldn't be interested, they've hidden us from the users that have said, please send me updates. So that's insidious. I mean, so we had decided, look, what are we, just an abused spouse? How long are we going to put with this? It's almost like we're a whore that gives really good oral sex and you're embarrassed of us. So you're going to pretend we don't exist. I mean, some of the people that they have hidden are people that have raised $500,000 on their campaign. Shane Davis? You're going to hide Shane Davis, who's raised $500,000?
The Elon Musk is doing it with social media. This current movement that is going on with these folks at Indiegogo and at Kickstarter, the Comicsgate folks, like you just mentioned, Shane Davis, and indeed Mike Baron, may very well be the tipping point that makes that snapback happen also.
I hope so. I mean, even people that don't like them should be offended at like I watch Jimmy Dore. I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, but I like Jimmy Dore. Because he's an honest liberal. I want my opposition to be honest. That's all. And
that's why I love that guy. That's why I love that guy. He's our honest liberal. Brian's a lefty.
I love Brian.
Trust
me.
Right? Brian is actually more conservative than a lot of Republicans out there.
Well, you're absolutely right. But I say that because let's just be honest in our dealings. Can't we? Why are you being shady and using subterfuge and deceit and lies and all that?
But I can't compete with you, Chris, so I'm going to try to tear you down.
Right.
Do you remember the subreddit Florida Man article, Chris?
Yes.
That's when I met Mike Baron. That's when Mike and I became friends, because I was like, well, I mean, I think we were friends before that, but that's when I went balls out on anti-cancel culture, because you were trying to fuck with one of my friends, and I don't play that crap. Okay. Then it became a crusade for me. I am anti-cancel culture, and I don't give a shit which side of the fucking fence.
Yeah. Nobody remembers the article, Pops, because it doesn't exist. It got written and it was immediately taken down by Reddit moderators because, sorry, we don't allow this person's comic to be, talked about.
It was a digital it was digital censorship.
Retconning the world, baby.
I am also I'm on the board at my local GOP. And I also go to the commission meetings in my city when they want to blow a bunch of money on skate parks and sidewalks that we don't need and bike lanes, right? But I'll say things like, look, I don't care if you're Wiccan or Mormon or Christian or atheist. You have every right to hold the beliefs that you want to hold, but you shouldn't have to impose those on other people. And I think I feel the same way about Republicans, Democrats, independents. I don't want us to legislate morality. That's my dealing with my God, right? You don't need to tell me not to get divorced. I'm going to sin, right? And I'll take it up with my Creator. But for you to actually enforce your beliefs, or because you've been triggered and offended by something that you think I represent, I mean, where does it stop? So I told my wife last night, listen, she gets exhausted with this. She doesn't care about comic books. She doesn't care about, I'm a video production company, right? A pretty successful one. I mean, we won awards and we do animation and documentaries and all kinds of stuff. So when Mike hit me up 2-3 years ago about Florida Man, it's only because, I mean, the only reason I do Bleeding Fool is because I got shadow banned on Bleeding Cool. That's it.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, it's very easy to start my own website, guys, and I'll be your parody account. I'll be the satire. I'll be the right wing to you guys. And I did it. So Mike was reading
the council of my city, and so believe me, I see all the extremities, both sides of it. I've been called a liberal. I've been called, both sides of the spectrum. They call me both ways. I'm like, how can you be both? But I've always been, probably to the right of the center. And I just recently had a ordinance that got voted down because we had so many people absent. Only 2 guys could vote down a bill, to try to do better funding for our police. And then the very next night, we're sitting at a budget meeting, and hey, we don't have the money to fund our police properly. I'm like, guys, what were I talking about last night? It gets frustrating, but there's nothing wrong with supporting your police, and there's also nothing wrong with freedom of speech. I mean, this woman, whatever she wants to write in her own comics, I completely support her to do it. More power to her, but quit trying to elevate yourself by standing on someone else with false accusations. That's
the false accusations. That's really it. This is a false accusation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
this is like this is like the Willis Tower taking a wrecking ball to the building next door and then saying, hey, we're the tallest building in town.
Hey, and it's not our fault that other people didn't like that building either. I mean, leave us alone.
I thought that was knocking shit.
Here's a good endorsement for your friends, Chris.
Rich Johnston. I love Brian, by the way. I know I've said that multiple times. I'm only saying it multiple times so Brian hears me.
Brian is
Rich Johnston has reached out to us before, but you know what he's never said? Hey, you can't call yourself Bleeding Fool. Hey, you can't mock us and parody us, right? So kudos to him, I guess. They have their people that they speak to, and we have ours. And you know what we've never said to do? Go shut down Bleeding Cool. We've never done it. And you know what? He's never said go shut down Bleeding Fool. So Mike was a fan of the website, and he said, hey, man, check this out. He showed me the cover to Florida Man #1 by Todd Mulrooney. And I said, holy crap, this looks hilarious. And he told me what it was about. I said, well, where's it going to be published? He said, well, I thought Dark Horse was going to do it, but they passed on it. I said, well, keep trying. He goes, I can't get anybody interested in it. And so I said, you ought to crowdfund it. And he said, will you help me? And of course, and a friendship was born.
Right.
And of course, we're promoting it. Thanks, Brian. Of course, we're promoting it on Reddit because I'm thinking, holy cow, here's a comic books Reddit with 1.5 million subscribers. We need to tell people that the Eisner winning comic book writer Nexus and the Badger just did the funny book of the year. And because I did it under Bleeding Fool, and because it was Mike Barron, they banned us permanently from ever talking about it, banned my account, and told me there was nothing more I could do about it. And when I asked about it, I said, what's going on? They said, you are Comicsgate adjacent. Comicsgate adjacent, which I guess is the new Ku Klux Klan. So we're friends with Robert Byrd, just so you know. We spoke at his funeral. With very kind words. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That was Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. My bad.
Oh, shit.
But they banned us. And you know what? So as Heel versus Babyface made hay about it. Ethan made hay about it. Clownfish TV made hay about it, and we quickly hit our goal. So I must say, I don't want to play victim, but I will gladly hitch our plow to these outrage babies anytime that they present themselves.
I'm not going to lie. Fighting them about Florida Man was probably what gave us our initial boost as a network.
That's how I found out about you.
Yeah. I mean, no, man, you ain't fucking with Mike. Let me give my little thing about Mike. Okay. When you meet somebody online, okay, and you invite them to be on a show or something and you have conversation. When I first met Mike, the first time I sent Mike a message and said, hey, man, I want to get you on my show. Mike responded with his phone number and said, call me Pops. That's the kind of guy Mike is, okay? Yeah. He didn't know if I was white, black, purple, green, or any other, didn't know jack about me.
He didn't care.
He didn't care. He's not a fucking racist. And I hate the way that they use that term. They've watered that term down to the point where it doesn't even have any meaning anymore. It's sad.
It's the only brush they know how to paint.
Yeah, that's right. Because they don't have a good argument. Mike's a very smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't have a good argument, what you say is Hitler.
Yeah, exactly.
Over and over again.
Yeah, and even this book would go great at a Klan rally, right?
Speaking of which, it was the little angry man with a funny mustache that said, "If you tell a lie long enough, loud enough, and often enough, the people will believe it."
Yeah.
So can we let's show the trailer, which is
That's where I'm trying to get to.
Oh, I got it. It's right there in the brand. I set it up for you.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm just trying to get the conversation.
Yes. So the Private American, basically, find out more at theprivateamerican.com. I mean, it's basically Death Wish at the border. It's basically Rambo Last Blood with the Punisher. That's all.
I'm going to pull that up too, because I'm going to share that in a second.
That beautiful bean footage.
All right, here we go.
America's southern border has become a war zone. Human traffickers, drug smugglers, and terrorists flow across the Rio Grande with impunity, secure in the knowledge that no one will stop them. A distant federal government lectures Americans on their privilege while punishing overworked Border Patrol agents who were helpless to stem the tidal wave of invaders and determined migrants. Second-generation Cuban-American Marcos Zamora is a military vet, more patriotic than most Americans. No longer able to ignore the chaos at his doorstep, he acts. Joined by his best friend Gus, they hit the border every night, saving lives while stopping violent drug cartels and other opportunists. The government reacts with fury at Marcos' attempts to preserve American sovereignty, deploying the full might of their enforcement agencies. But Marcos understands that the only thing the rich and powerful fear is bad publicity, and he records every encounter. Whoever he is, this private American must be stopped. Illustrated by Richard Bonk and written by Eisner winner Mike Baron, Private American is his version of Captain America, and maybe a little Punisher, taking part in this ongoing, violent, and very real battle of good versus evil in the war for American sovereignty. Grab your copy at theprivateamerican.com.
We have a secure border, and that is a priority for our administration.
Boom.
Beautiful stuff.
That's Kamala Harris. That's Vice President Kamala Harris.
They fear is bad publicity.
Yeah.
The light being shown on them.
Yep.
Exactly what you guys did with these idiots.
Yeah.
Show the light on them.
What else can we do? I mean, what else? I mean, just take it. Just take the abuse and keep quiet.
Self-evident, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what everybody does. And it's like, I'm just not built that way, guys. I got to come out and say something. When I see injustice, I got to say something.
Yeah.
You know?
But you guys know what I mean when I'm saying, it just gets so exhausting.
Sure it does.
To have to, it's like I wake up, I've got a list of shit I want to do that day for my video business. And I suddenly get the Kickstarter got suspended. I mean, things just go sideways.
Nowhere on that list, Chris, when you got up that morning, was deal with a bunch of SJWs having an I'm offended meltdown pity party.
It's true. It's
was
true.
not on my list of shit to do today.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
do got one question, Chris. What's your goal on Crowdfunder?
$500.
Well, let me just kick you over that motherfucker.
Oh, listen at him. I was going to do that myself. I had to. Thank you, boss.
There we go. That's how we do it here.
I really, Brian Christgau actually kind of, he's been in the chat several times. And Six Gun Gorilla is just a magnificent project. Everybody should get behind it.
Absolutely.
It is.
But he did a experiment with Zoop, which I really, really wanted to hit its goal because it was going to be a full omnibus of everything.
Right.
But I didn't want the omnibus. I confess, I wanted the second trade because I bought the first trade, and I hate double dipping. I'm sorry. I mean, there's a bunch of omnibuses over back there, but whatever. I don't like the double dip. So on that campaign, I backed the trade, and we promoted the Zoop and all that. But I thought, I hear what Brian's doing. He's trying to experiment with diversifying his platforms.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I heard about Crowdfunder, and they're cool. You can pay them actually less than the 5% fee. You can ask the backers. So actually, the backers on Crowdfunder pay that fee.
Chris, you like a lower fee, Chris?
We actually had a friend that already ran a Crowdfunder. Lee Newman ran his, and at the same time that Brian was trying Zoop, Lee was trying.
How did Lee's do?
He did all right. I mean, it's like, it's not a huge platform yet, but
right.
If it proves to be, he was happy with it. From what I understood, he was happy with his experience.
Well, we want to use them again, but I'll tell you what we're looking at now. Okay. We still sell between 8 to 10 products a week on thinbluelinecomics.com. And every now and then it's a WordPress site, so I can do coupons through WooCommerce and give people a discount or free shipping or whatever. Right. Yeah, I know, Brian, people get mad, piss on them, so do all the platforms. Just use whichever one you want. That's really what we have to do. I think we just have to be diversified. And if I can use a biblical term, Solomon recommends diversifying.
So sell books.
But I just want to sell books. Right. But even on our website for Thin Blue Line Comics and Florida Man Comics, if you pay with PayPal, we pay a higher fee. PayPal claws just a few more dimes and nickels than just WooCommerce's banking does.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I mean, the books, listen, this is small print publishing, and it's boutique and it's niche. And I get that people don't want to pay more than $5 or $10 for a graphic novel. Believe me, I totally understand it. I pre-order my comics every month from Cowabunga Comics. Trust me. But these books, we don't know how many people are going to back them. And we have to price it in to, if we only get 200 backers, we're paying $8 or close to it. I don't want to say exactly the number per book. And that's one cover. And for us to do that, you think guys like Richard Bonk and Mike Barron don't deserve to make a few shekels also? Plus, we got to ship it. Plus, we got to package it and sleeve it. And we want to give you some fun little goodies too, stickers, bookmarks, things like that. I mean, it's an experience when you open these things up. So $20, $25, I know it's a lot for some people, and I get why we're not selling them by the millions, but whatever. I mean, this is our market. This is what we do.
I'm hoping in light of this recent development, my understanding is that Ethan is hardcore shilling tonight and bouncing back on it. I hope you guys get a huge windfall out of that. Ethan occasionally can be a force of nature.
Yep.
And here's hoping.
Yeah. Yeah. Ethan has been, he is a force of nature. In my mind, Ethan is kind of he is the indie comics gate Stan Lee. I'm going to just bequeath him that because he is a showman.
I will grant that 100%. I said that to his face.
Oh, good.
I told him he was the P.T. Barnum
He really is.
So
I mean, because he'll run the
complicated.
circus, and of course he'll put on the flair and the wild glasses and the Elton
I
John
was going to say
costumes.
he'll put on the loud plaid jacket and sell you a used car
He
in
has
a
fun with
heartbeat.
it. But I
Because,
would have fun with it too if I had grossed $2-3 million on my own after telling DC Comics to kiss my ass. Right?
Exactly right.
So
exactly.
he's good. He's a fantastic artist. He's getting better and better as a writer. He's an excellent promoter. I'm proud of Ethan, and I'll promote him until until it bites me in the ass. I don't care. And I know there's people that don't like Ethan. I get it. Some of the people who write for Bleeding Full don't like Ethan. I get it. And you're totally entitled to that opinion. Hey, I didn't like Jack Kirby until I got older. I forgive myself. Right?
Chris, you talk about diversifying your platforms. I just want to point out that there is another platform in development. It's going to be doing a soft launch the end of December, end of this month. And it's being run by Luke Stone.
Yes. I've heard of Luke Stones. I like Luke. I'm looking into it.
We're looking at a 2%
Yeah.
fee, and it's being developed by the same web developers who are doing the website design for That Umbrella Guys site.
Okay.
So it's a
and also Backer Kit has reached out to us about doing something with them. But my problem with Backer Kit is sort of the same problem with Kickstarter, is they're promoting extreme left activist creators right now. Like Spike from Iron Circus Comics is sort of their big comic, and all she writes about are LGBT POC protagonists, and that's fine. But she's also quite virulent she's Gabby Rivera virulent on social media. And if that's your masthead, that's like going into a church and knowing, oh boy, I don't fit in here, So we'll see how it goes. I've had some good conversations with Backer Kit. I need to look a little further into Luke Stone, because our next campaign, let me tell you guys something. We've already got Florida Man 2 is currently being inked. It's already all been penciled and laid out. It looks beautiful. It's fantastic. It's hilarious. We've also got Pat Broderick, Micronauts, X-Men. I mean, if you know
Firestorm.
Marvel Comics, yes, Firestorm. Pat Broderick's amazing, and he has probably done the best work of his career on a weird Western called Bronze Star that Mike Baron wrote. It's awesome. It's so good that I'm going to do an artist edition with no color, like we did with Thin Blue Line 2. We'll do a color version, but it's just the pencil work he's doing. It's the best work of his career. There's absolutely no doubt it's the best work of his career. And then the guys, Joe and Jeff, that did Thin Blue Line are already hard at work on Thin Blue Line 2. So we've got no less than 3 projects coming out next month. And I'm okay with, if Kickstarter makes amends, maybe we'll do Bronze Star over there first. I don't know. I don't know where this is all going. I can't say where we'll be next, but we'll always share it with you guys first. And it'll be a URL, and that URL will either redirect to where it's going. Like right now, you can go to Bronze Star Comic and look at a little bit of sample of what Pat's done over there. So we'll always do our own URL. I really think that we need to follow the Eric July model of doing it yourself. And I have my own thoughts about why PayPal did what they did to him. I'm not sure it was as malevolent as he took it, but I can certainly understand his argument, because I've been dealing with, we deal with PayPal for Bleeding Fool. So I get it. I like the idea of you having your own bank account, your own bank that you can trust, and let the WooCommerce handle it all. That's really the best way to do it. And honestly, there are website methods, widgets, and all that can. I think Mandy Summers is doing it all herself too.
Yeah, you can just take direct credit card payments.
Yeah,
you can. You can put just a PayPal button, open a PayPal store.
Sure.
You have a PayPal account, you have a PayPal store, and it has the buttons and everything there. You just put them on there.
My fine art website, before it went down, I was trying to use PayPal, but PayPal just would not work for me. So I was going to use Cash App, which works well.
Yeah,
and I like Cash App, but I was talking to the person at the web host, and they said, you can just put a direct credit card thing on there.
Yep.
I was like, oh, really? And nobody gets a cut. There's no middleman. I like that. Let's do that. So that's what I was doing.
Well, I mean, let's
Everybody
be
can do
honest.
that.
We all just have we have a limited amount of bandwidth, every one of us, right? So we only have a finite amount of time, and we're not going to live forever. So you want to live well, and you don't want to really waste a whole lot of time doing stuff that other people can do better for you on your behalf or whatever. So it just makes more sense. Thanks, Heroinberg. Those guys are great. They make videos about superhero women, and it's just
I'm just reading number 1 and number 2. They were in my reader stack that he sent me.
You got a number 2? You got that's a limited edition, because all the number 2s were accidentally published as number 1s. I'm not making this up, guys. As a matter of fact, I've got it right here. They just sent us our check. Let's see. Here we go. So here's number 2.
No, I meant Heroinberg number 2.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I thought you said
Florida man a long time
my
ago.
bad. My bad. Yeah, American Mythology screwed up on this. So
I'm one of the guys that had to tell Mike.
edition.
I'm one of the guys that had to tell Mike, don't send me the script.
Yeah.
Don't send it to me. I don't want to read it ahead of time. I want to read it when I get it in my hot little hands.
I can't do that. I have to correct that script. And even then I messed up.
All right, guys, we're coming up on the 2 hour mark here.
I appreciate you guys just listening to me ramble and moan and bitch and cry and laugh. It's just been an emotional roller coaster.
I bet. It's
No,
probably
we
hard to
always
get to
got
sleep
you.
tonight.
We've got your back, Chris.
I appreciate it.
Michael, this has been a different kind of show than what you're used to doing with me with the LCS guys show.
Very comic related, and it shows one of the aspects of the industry, that what comic creators on an independent level have to deal with this kind of BS all the time.
Yeah.
I love the conversations that you guys have with Michael, because that's the comic shop era that I love. I grew up, obviously I was a Bronze Age baby, and my first comic was off the spinner rack. It was
Hell yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man versus Stegron and the Lizard. And it was a Christmas issue with dinosaurs. I mean, I was sucked right in. It was that and Conan the Barbarian, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
So I love the old school way of doing
Captain
things.
America Mad Bomb was my first that I bought.
Oh, yes, love it. As a matter of fact, I've got that
comics
as
for fun.
painting right over there, Mad Bomb. Sure.
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, if
For
you
me,
like
it was
Conan the
Defenders
Barbarian,
10, Thor versus the Hulk.
Love it.
mine was like a Superman 100 and something, and all I can remember.
Here it is.
It's in my collection. He was gripping his the letter U in his name and warning the reader that they were next if they didn't stop whatever was happening to him. And his body was stretched out into an infinity black hole in the middle of the earth. But if you like Conan, Michael is finishing up the Robert E. Howard art chronology that he had on Kickstarter. Michael, what's the progress on that? Because we usually hear from you about every 2 weeks on that.
Yeah, I've been working on that for 2.5 years. It's 360,000 words, over 7,000 images, giving you the entire 100-year publishing history of Robert E. Howard from the time he was a fan and doing fan press stuff. And
wow!
Giving you all the covers of everything he's ever had published. And I'm giving you synopsises of synopsis. I'm not sure what the proper plural is there for every comic story that's ever been published. And so I'm wrapping it up. I've got it all written. I've got all the images processed, and I'm building. I'm down to the last couple hundred pages to build on volume 4. So I'm getting it very close. And then I got to go through the editorial process of putting in the edits, and then it'll be off to the printer. I'll finally be done with it, and I get back to my other.
You know what I'm going to do next?
Is it an active campaign right now? Is it on Kickstarter?
Yeah, funded on Kickstarter. We did almost 100,000 in sales. It's a sequel because I did one once before that was also on Kickstarter. I did very well. Both of them were projects they love. That's why I wanted to point it out earlier about hey, they do that emblem on other stuff. But did a Edgar Rice Burroughs 100-year Kickstarter. That
can you grab it?
1,000 was that?
Can you grab it?
Sure. I think I'm looking at it right now.
Ask him to grab it. He's going to pull his back out one time.
Publishing, Chenault and Gray Publishing. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Man, you guys did as good as we did on Thin Blue Line. That's like almost $100,000.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
I'm going to give him
the size of that freaking book, yo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's what the Robert E. Howard one's going to look like.
We'll get back onto
That's one of the books, Pops.
Holy cow.
One of the books.
Damn.
This is the Edgar Rice Burroughs chronology.
Holy buckets.
See, I got so many of those old paperbacks, man.
Oh, I know.
So many of those.
Well, see, Mike has worked in printing and running actual print shops. That he knows how to clean this stuff up.
I was a journeyman printer right out of high school. By the age of 22, I was managing my own printing division. So I was a printing plant manager. The age of 24. I mean, just doing all sorts of. If you like those books, you probably want the volume 2. And this is reproduced from the actual Frank Frazetta painting that's hanging at the wall, the Eggerized Barrels Inc. So that's like the best reproduction of that Frazetta painting.
Wow.
And so I just go through. I just give you history. This one's just like say on the books. Going.
Wow.
All the editions in the U.S., the U.K., hardcover,
Dude, look at that.
and I just give you everything.
Pops, you got to get Michael on one of your shows.
Yeah. Who needs Viagra, dude? That's amazing.
Speaking of Viagra, be careful on the volume 4 because
can people still order the Robert E. Howard art chronology even though your Kickstarter has concluded?
Once the Kickstarters have been fulfilled, they will be. Right now, you can't because it's still it's over, it's closed, waiting for us to deliver.
Yeah.
The publisher kind of botched it because they were asking me, so what's as soon as you can get this done? So the earliest I could write it would be like in February of 2022. That wasn't like delivered printer. That's as soon as I could get it written. But I said it'll probably be like July. And I made the July deadline. Well, when they did the Kickstarter, they said shipping in January 2022. It's like, there's no way I can do that. And they owned it. They said, that was an error on our part. We should have put that part. So now I've really felt the push. Now I got to get this done as fast as I can. So I'm right on schedule, but I'm sure the backers out there go, I thought I was going to get this sooner.
They'll be patient. No, those kind of backers are going to be patient. Man, what a beautiful thing you're doing
as long
there,
as you
Michael.
Update people what's going on. People are pretty patient. And,
Michael, are you following what Titan Comics is doing now that they've taken over the Conan license?
Oh, yeah, because I had to get permission for this from Heroic Signatures, who used to be all the different names as they've evolved through the years there. And they're going to be doing that in coordination with Titan. And so this, in a way, it kind of worked out perfectly. It's going to be coming out at a good window.
Yeah.
The Marvel's wrapped. It's all done. And so there's going to be a little window in there. Well, nothing's being published. And I'll get mine. Okay, here's everything.
Not just that. Well, I mean, because Titan, I think, is actually leaving money on the table. I think they're making a mistake. I just found out that they are starting over at #1 on both the Savage Sword and the Conan the Barbarian. And there's a lot of people who were buying. I'm one of them. I've got volumes 1 through 8 of Savage Sword. And the guy at Hero Signatures was saying, well, we're going to come out next year with volume 9, but we're going to start with volume 1. So we're going to do 1 and then 9. Well, they're not going to do that anymore. And they're going to make all these people that collected the first 8 volumes of that wait 5 years, I think. And I'm thinking, well, then why did you even bother making the same trade dress as the Marvel stuff if you're going to put off the people that have been spending $100 and something every 3 months for the Marvel? I think they've screwed up. I mean, and I love the character, and hopefully I'm wrong about that. So don't take that as gospel, but I think they've messed up. We'll see.
It was my impression that they're going to continue on. So, I mean, I don't know.
I know, but what's the guy that does the big Omnibus YouTube channel? He just came out and showed the artwork for the next 4 Omnibus, and it's all #1 and 2 of both series.
Oh, wow.
Now do you do the Ablaze? Have you followed any of what they've been doing with the Sumerian?
Oh, yeah. Variant Gasm.
Yeah. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, the stories are up and down. There's some.
They're inconsistent. Let's be honest. It's not John Buscema. It's not Barry Windsor Smith. I know.
Yeah, and they're just.
Or it's not Frank Frazetta. Yeah,
I think the variants have killed the comic industry. You have destroyed the ability for the completist to engage in a hobby. Like, I can't get them all. Heck with it. I'm done. And they walk away.
That's the problem with comic books. And I'm a completist too. My wife had to learn what that term was. She didn't like it when I explained it.
And as a retailer, this has been huge to me. I've seen this happen so much where they just are literally chasing the hardcore fans away, going, there's no way you will be satisfied with our product. We're going after the short-term, immediate dollar, and the hell with long-term thinking.
It's a shame.
And guess what? It comes to haunt you long-term, and that's what's happened to the industry. That's why they are seeing puny numbers on them. I mean, they're used to in the 90s, Marvel would cancel anything that dropped below 90,000. I don't know. They've got hardly anything going over 90,000.
They don't have much going over 20,000. Let's be honest.
They don't even list the numbers anymore. I mean,
Right.
it was pointed out to me today that Comicron and ICV2 haven't listed what the top 50 comics are for the month since August.
Yeah.
So
It's a shame.
It's abysmal how bad the print run is, and you know, that just shows you comic book stores closing. That's why when the pandemic hit, you know, I had just signed a contract to do this, also along with several new of my Wild Stars novels. You know, so I've got that going on.
Nice.
And
Damn,
so
man.
yeah, this
Show
was
it.
actually an omnibus collecting the first 4. Number 5 just came out in a book edition this year. Number 6 is about to wrap up. Let's see, today is the 9th. In a week, the final installment of Wild Star 6 will run in Crosova magazine, and that will wrap up that one. That's volume 6. That'll be out in hardcover and paperback next year. And starting in spring comes Wild Star 7, which means I got to get to work writing 8 as soon as I get done with this chronology.
Hey,
Oh,
Doc,
Dang.
hey, Doc, you want to book this guy to your show here in the future?
Michael, we should have been talking about this the whole freaking time, brother.
He's
Listen,
got a lot going on.
let you in on a trade secret here, though, guys. Michael, in working this hard, I don't know if you know this, he's only 26 years old.
What 26?
Look what it does to you.
No wonder he's
Smile.
slinging those omnibuses around so easily.
Now,
Yeah,
let me tell
Doc,
you
you got to
something.
book him to your show, bro. Get him
Oh,
out here
absolutely.
sometime.
Absolutely.
You guys got to get on these shows. I need to promote Michael more.
I appreciate
Not
that.
Michael Moore, but I need to promote Michael.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I love it. I gotta go. I know you guys are probably wrapping up, but thank
Yeah.
you so much for bringing attention to this situation. Please share that article, share this video.
Dude, we're sticking with this one. We're
Back
sticking with
Mike,
this one.
you know, I know it's the weekend and Friday is when news goes to die. I get
I would be
that.
shocked if that headline's still up by Monday.
Yeah. I know.
Let's fill up
It'll
now.
probably be changed again. I suspect that article won't be up all next week. At some point, I think that article's coming down.
Chris, will you keep RJ and the rest of
Yes.
us in the loop on
Thank
the
you.
follow through on this?
I
But
certainly
you know,
will.
the bad thing is the
All right.
damage is done at that point, though.
I know.
because,
Yeah.
there's a great joke one time about a guy goes to court and he slandered a man, and the judge said, "Okay, well here's your what I want you to do before you come to the court next time. I want you to write down what you said on a piece of paper. Now on your way home, I want you to tear that in tiny little pieces and throw it out the car window as you drive home." So the guy comes back to court the next day, and the judge says, "What did you do? Follow my instructions?" He goes, "Yes, I did, Judge." He goes, "Okay, here's your sentence. I want you to go out there and pick up every one of those pieces." And the guy's like, "Judge, that's impossible." He goes, "That's what it is. When you slander somebody, it's impossible to undo the damage."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I love men older than me. They're so much wiser than me. I love stories like that. I
That's
need
where
that.
we learn, guys.
Yes,
That's how we
sir.
learn. Pay attention to
gentlemen,
the elders.
More
Graduate of
red-blooded
Art Knox.
American males like you. I need more friends like that. Thanks again. I'm signing off. I love you all. I love this
We're all
industry. I
signing
love Comicsgate. I love indie comics. I love comics. I love the world. So let's all. It's Christmas. Celebrate the firstborn Jesus. Follow him. Trust me, you won't screw up if you do, and if you don't, come ask me about him. I'll tell you all about him.
All right. Everybody in the chat,
Merry
thanks so much
Christmas.
for being here. We
Peace,
don't have a
everybody.
show without you. So, we're glad you're here. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night, everybody.
Come